Welcome, Deal Doctor Live, Monday, 1 o'clock. Here we are. Thanks for joining. Today I want to talk a little bit about planning and helping you establish what's your why for 2022. And I want to take us back a while, like 13 years to be exact. September 29, 2008, the market crashed. Some of you remember that. Some of you had to live through that. And we'll give you just a second here as our 1 o'clock fire truck is coming through right now. So, some of us, it seems like only yesterday, but it was 13 years ago. And over the next couple of years after that September date, millions of homeowners lost their homes entirely or lost 50, 40, 50, 60% of their home's value. Millions lost most or all of the equity they had built up. What happened? Those homeowners who were able to keep their homes changed their plans. Baby boomers who were empty nesters and approaching retirement, who had planned to downsize and sell the house, the family homestead, buy a condo, move to Florida, whatever. They had to change their plans because they could no longer act on their plans based on the reduced equity that they had in their homes. But what did agents do? How did agents respond? Many of them dropped out of the business. Many of them continued to do the things they had always done in hopes that it would continue to give them income. And it didn't. Some of them chased foreclosures and short sales, and I was one of those people. It was low-paying, hard work, and thankless work. No matter how hard you worked or how well you worked for people, homeowners who were losing their homes were understandably frustrated, unhappy, angry. They were mad at the world. No matter how well listing agents did their jobs, they weren't able to make clients happy. So how did those agents survive? Well, let's think of it this way. The U.S. Marines, decades ago, got hand-me-downs from the Army, old, worn-out, mismatched equipment from the Army. And what did they do? They improvised. They adapted. They overcame to become one of the world's most elite fighting forces. Improvise, adapt, overcome. It's the unofficial motto of the Marines. So, think like a Marine. Focus on what you can control. You can't change the real estate market. You can only change how you respond to it. Right now, working with buyers is extremely challenging, as many of you know. Buyers are much like sellers were in 2008 to 2012. No matter how hard you try, no matter how many homes you show them, how many offers you write for them, they're not going to be happy until they win. And if they don't win soon enough, they are likely to go to a different real estate agent. Am I right? How many of you have been through that experience? I know I have. So, what do you do? Well, in a market like this, maybe you need to be prepared to make course corrections to reach your goal, whatever that goal is. And so the question is, what is your goal? How many units do you want to sell? How many commission dollars do you want to make? How many listings will it take to reach your goal? How many sales is that going to be? How many appointments do you need to go on in order to reach your goal? What's your average commission check? Are you able to increase your commission check in 2022? What will you do if the market shifts? If the market changes, if we see an economic downturn or an economic boost in the next 6 to 8 months, are you prepared to make a course correction? Number 3, be open to new opportunities. A lot of agents focus only on residential business. But there's a lot more to real estate than just residential business. Do you have investors that you work with? People who are out there flipping homes or buying properties to rent? If not, find some. Very often they have cash. They're great to work with because they have pockets full of cash. Or they have access to a lot of credit. They buy, they sell, And if you have a relationship and they're committed to you and feel comfortable and confident with you, they're going to use you both on the buy side as well as the sell side. And it could become a long-term income stream for you. Learn commercial real estate. Find a mentor. Pay him or her to teach you commercial real estate. Consider it tuition. I certainly did. When I went into commercial, I had somebody who had my back. I could turn to that person with every step of the way, knowing that they would guide me correctly. And I paid them well to do that. And in the course of several years, I probably pocketed somewhere in the neighborhood of $500,000 in commission over the course of the next few years. Commercial is a little more complicated than residential. It can be very complicated, but it can also be slightly more complicated, but it's extremely lucrative when you have a solid real estate business to rely on, and you're adding that as an additional facet of your overall product offering. What about becoming an expert in multifamily units? Learn everything there is to know about multifamilies. What about, what do you ask for when you write an offer on a multifamily? The security deposit, for example, the appliances, furniture, rent proration. I can tell you that the deal doctors and broker support people get this call a lot when agents have not done a lot of work with multifamilies and they don't know that they have to ask for rent proration and verify that that rent is in fact up to date. Same thing with security deposits. It's actually not in a lot of the buy-sells that we use, the purchase agreements that we use, so we have to specify it, write it in. But if you're an expert in that, if you become an expert in that area of real estate, it can be very lucrative for you and add and help to expand your business. Do you know how to sell a property on a land contract or buy a purchase money mortgage? If not, include those learning skills in your goals for 2022. That alone, doing a land contract deal, 3 to 5 land contract or purchase money mortgage deals in a year could really enhance your business. So I encourage you to expand your business and learn as much as you can. Sharpen your axe. As some of you know, I wrote a real estate book, it's been 9 years ago, I guess. And one of the stories I tell in there is about 2 woodcutters who end up in competition, and every year they go up against each other, and the old master always wins, and the young, strong woodcutter goes up against him again in this year. And the young woodcutter keeps cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting. And the master, he looks over, and the master woodcutter is sitting over there with his axe across his lap, having a pipe, smoking a pipe, and he thinks that he's going to win. And so at the end of it all, they measure the piles of wood they've chopped, and lo and behold, the master has won once again. And the youngster says to him, "Well, how did you do that? You were sitting there over on the stump." He said, "You were just sitting there." He says, "No, I was sharpening my axe." In other words, he was becoming more skillful in the moments that he took a break and reevaluated his situation than the guy who just kept doing what he was doing over and over and over and kept going without a break, without thinking about it. So, I have to give my credit to my dad for this one. He used to say to me, "Don't bother learning the tricks of the trade, learn the trade." Simple. You don't have to use tricks of the trade if you know the trade, if you know it cold. And so, when I came into this business many years ago, I immediately got into the course for GRI, or very quickly got into a course for GRI. CRS, ABR, ePro, got my associate broker's license in 1991 because I wanted to learn as much as I could about real estate in as short a period of time. So, what's one way that you can sharpen your axe? Sign up for Ninja. It's a great program. It's one of the best sales training programs out there. But there are also others that are extremely good sales training programs, and I encourage you to do something to expand your business and learn the business at a deeper level. Take a certification course, again, GRI, ABR, CRS, ePro, CCIM, Broker Prep. Every single one of those courses is going to teach you a lot. You'll learn a lot from every one of them. And the more expert you are, the more likely you're going to be able to apply that when you're working with clients and make more money. So, I'll take just a breather for a minute, because when you're planning your 2022 and you're laying out your course, it's important to recognize that you have to include everything, not just your career work, but your life as a whole. Whether you have a family, if you're a single parent family, whatever your situation is, feeding you is very important. Feeding your family, not just financially, but emotionally, in parenting and being a partner in your relationship, those are all extremely important things. And if we don't feed those things, if we're not healthy in those areas, and physically, we have to be good to ourselves and healthy. As many of you know, I spent a lot of time on a bicycle, and that's why. Because if I'm not healthy for me, I'm not going to be healthy for my clients. If I'm not healthy for me, I'm not going to be healthy in a relationship. So feed yourself. Make sure that you are getting all the nourishment, food, financial, emotional, before you look at your career, or at least equally to your career. Because if any one of those is missing, you're not going to be successful. You're going to be missing out on an element. It's really important. And I'm looking at this in this article, and it's talking about eating well, sleeping well, exercising, social, emotional, having a good social life, building meaningful connections, mental, learning something new, reading books, writing, spiritual, expanding your spiritual self through meditation, spending time relaxing, and so on. It's all really important. It's all really important to what you're going to do in 2022. So as you sit down and you start thinking about what are you going to do in 2022, one of the first places you can start is to take stock of your life and look at some elements that are holding you back. For example, what in your life is wasting your time? Where do you spend time that is unnecessary or counterproductive? What is draining your energy? Are you in a relationship or family situation where things are sapping your energy to the point that you don't want to go out and work? Then that probably needs to get resolved, because it's going to affect you not only that next year but beyond. What's holding you back? That's a really, really hard question we have to ask ourselves sometimes, because sometimes we don't like the answer. It can be very, very challenging. And so I would encourage you to look at those things that are energy drainers, what's sapping you, because let's try to eliminate those things, or at least mitigate them, and start looking at the flip side of those things, which is what brings you joy, what brings you contentment, what is working for you. Let's focus on those things and try to minimize the impact of the things that are negative. What makes you feel alive? What do you have a passion for? What makes you feel on fire? Well, again, as some of you know, I like riding a bicycle. I like writing. I've done a couple of books. And so part of feeding me, for me, is to do those things because that makes me feel whole. Part of my enjoyment, what brings me joy, is giving back to real estate agents now, as I've had a pretty nice career, been very thankful, very blessed, and it's wonderful to be able to give back and help other agents achieve their goals. What do you want more of in your life? Is there something that you really, really enjoy? Might be travel, might be fixing up your home, more time with your children, more time with your partner. Any of those things that you've always wanted to accomplish, but you're not, but you kind of put it off. Put it on the list. Get it on the list. Make a commitment to making it happen this year. This can be an overwhelming task, so pick what really matters to you and start there. Think about the issues that on this list that bring up how those positive things will help with the stressors and the barriers in your life, and you can create a new plan, an exciting plan for your 2022. Distractions are the number one, in my view, distractions are the number one detractor from real estate agents' success. I've seen so many agents who are distracted by the easy things to do. And I think that you've probably all heard the story about the rocks and the sand and the pebbles. So 3 containers, 1, 2, 3, and they pour in the sand and the pebbles and the rocks. If you pour in the sand, then the pebbles, and then the rocks, they won't fit. But if you put in the rocks first, let the pebbles fill in around them, and then let the sand fill in around that, then the likelihood is that they're going to fill that container without overflowing. So the moral of the story is, do the big stuff first. Do the hard stuff first. Put that on your list of things to do today, to do the hard stuff first. Because once you get that out of the way, the rest of it all falls into place. It just filters down. So do the hard stuff. Focus your energies on doing the most important thing first. You know what the most important thing is? Prospecting. It's more important than going to a closing. It's more important than going on a listing appointment. It's more important than writing an offer. And I know right now there are a lot of you out there who are thinking, Don, you're completely off your rocker. I know. But most agents who are successful in this business over a long, long period of time will tell you that prospecting consistently, every single day, is the most important thing you can do. It's the most profitable way long-term that you can spend your time. So, if you have a closing, of course, you want to go to that closing. You want to cash the check. You want to write an offer. You want to list a house. But don't give up that block of time that you're prospecting for business. Make that a priority, because long-term, that's going to pay off better for you than being distracted by anything else. So, we got any questions? One question. And let me see if I can jump over there and pull it up. I was on, Dom says I was on a roll, so he didn't want to stop me. All right. And Michelle is asking, earlier this year, 5-Star had asked agents if they had an interest in learning about commercial real estate. I think I remember that conversation, Michelle, and I would encourage anyone. I have not heard anything more about it either, but let's look into it. I will look into it for you and see if there's something we can do to help create some sort of commercial real estate training, and I think it's a great idea. I would love to see 5-Star Real Estate become more, have more presence in commercial real estate in all of their markets. So thank you for that, and I will look into it and see what we can do. Any other questions, thoughts? Okay, so that's short, 20 minutes or so, and I hope that it is helpful. I hope that it lights a fire that you can take and create a plan for 2022 that you can work, and I hope that it will be very successful. So, thanks for joining, and we'll see you next week.